Your head would have to be jammed so far up your ass that you can barely fucking move to not enjoy at least a chunk of this.
You're still listening. This is our final transmission.
Oh, we're here, Jamie. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Sam. Now that I'm 39, I'm going to try and be better at making podcasts. And so I'm going to try and talk in a much more calm and reserved way, which is going to be difficult because we're talking about one of my favorite films of the last 10 years.
Yep.
Today.
It's already not working for me. It's already boring. It's time to fucking bring it, bud. It's your birthday. Everyone's partying for you. Everyone that's listening right now is partying their asses off as we're about to talk about, you say one of your favorite movies. I'm tempted to say it might be your favorite movie.
I mean, I really, really love it.
Yeah.
I feel like, do you ever feel like there's just a movie that's been made for you? There's a guy out there with all of the same cultural touch points in his heart, and he's allowed to make films. And he's also allowed to make films with a certain level of impunity, and he can just do what he wants. And this is what comes out. Before we say that, let's just say welcome to Final Transmission. This is a podcast where me, Jamie, and my good friend Sam review one movie per week. And we do that every week until one of us dies. And then when one of us dies, I imagine that you will be, I assume it's going to be me first, and you'll puppet my corpse.
How does that work remotely? Fuck it, I'll figure it out. I got maybe a few weeks to figure that out. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll get my remains sent to you.
Okay. It's a very interesting stipulation in your will. Please ship my remains immediately to Sam Russo so that he may puppet me for the benefit of 16 people who listen to our podcast. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Count me in.
It does sound good.
How would you rate your puppeteering skills on a scale of 1 to 10?
It depends on the kind of puppet, really. Glove puppet, hand puppet, I reckon. I mean, I'm no ventriloquist, so maybe 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm not talking about fucking like 36-point articulated marionettes. Can you get your basic message across with a sock puppet?
Yeah, my basic message is Psycho Goreman fucking rips.
Okay, all right. I'd like to see that represented on social media. If you want to see Jamie portraying a Psycho Goreman enthusiast via the medium of sock puppet, then follow at FT Horror Show on all socials, because that's where you'll find that particular video.
It is, yeah.
So what are you doing for your birthday, you miserable fuck?
I'm celebrating. I mean, it's not a particularly special birthday.
What, 39? It's your last one where you can realistically, at least on some level, call yourself a young man.
I mean, I don't tend to call myself a young man anymore, but sometimes people call me young.
Yeah.
And those people are 70.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
You're young yet? No, I'm not.
No, I'm not going to say that when you're 40 anymore, bud. This is the last day.
Yeah, I remember when my dad turned 39, I bought him a keyring that said 39 forever. And he was like, this is only true if I die.
And you were like, here's hoping. Why why does that keyring even exist? Did it just exist for every age?
I imagine, yeah, it exists for every age.
What a nifty gift.
Maybe you're supposed to give it to someone who turns 40.
How the fuck do you explain that to somebody who looks at your keys and is like, what the fuck does that mean? You're 47. You'd be like, yeah, I don't know. My son's fucking special. I don't know what can I tell you.
My son is a thrifty idiot.
A thrifty idiot. What does a thrifty idiot do on their birthday? That's what I want to know. That's what the listeners want.
So I've booked this week off work.
Wow.
And I'm going to take myself and also my partner Kaz. And by take myself, I mean she's going to drive me because I don't drive. And we're going to go to Pendle Hill, home of the Pendle Witches.
Nice.
And have a little wander around. You can walk up Pendle Hill in an hour. So we'll do that. Then we'll walk back down it, go to a gift shop, buy some witchy bullshit, maybe pop in and see my dad because he lives around there.
Check that keyring out. Make sure it's still firmly
there.
affixed to the
See if he's bought me the same one.
He'd fucking give you it back. He's been waiting to offload that piece of shit. Let me tell you, that doesn't sound like a week's worth of activities. What else you doing?
Sitting around in my pants.
Excellent. Sounds like a fucking Perfect week for your first week of 39th years.
But I watch a lot of movies,
Yeah.
and one of them will be Psycho Goreman, which I've just watched because it's my birthday.
You're just going to keep watching it.
My 39th birthday wouldn't be complete without waking up first thing to see if the Astron 6 fairy has been and left me Psycho Goreman on Shudder.
Good segue.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that means it's on Shudder.
It is on Shudder, yeah. It's a Shudder original or exclusive or whatever they call them.
Interesting. So, how do you feel about dropping a synopsis on your birthday? I don't want to work you too hard.
I mean, I'm more than happy to drop a synopsis.
Yeah?
I guess you're not going to ask me about when I first saw it because this movie came out 2 years ago.
Yeah, but 2 years ago was a very interesting time.
Yeah, I followed the making of this movie. I'm a big fan of the director and a bunch of the stars from their Astron 6 and Trauma days. And so I followed the making of it for quite a while. And then it dropped and I watched it first thing in the morning, the day that it dropped on Shudder. And I've maybe seen it 6 times at this point.
6 in... Yeah, okay, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of times.
Yeah, it's enough that it's noteworthy.
Yeah, suffice to say it has rewatch value for you.
Yeah. Okay, so a synopsis for Psycho Goreman from 2021.
Oh,
Is it 2021?
I thought it was 2020, but yeah, go for it.
It was 2021 when it released.
Interesting.
Well, it did like a festival circuit before that. Right. So Psycho Goreman from 2020, released in the UK in 2021, directed by Steve Kostansky, and it is the story of a young girl and her brother and the alien that they befriend, who is also an ancient death machine who wants to destroy the world, and the friendship that they develop and the joy that they find and the weird monsters that come and try and kill them.
And the hijinks that ensue.
I mean, there are many hijinks and they all ensue.
There you have it. Psycho Goreman in a nutshell. Do you remember specifically the feelings that came up when you first watched this movie?
I remember thinking, oh God, this is a movie that's just for me.
Right.
It's not just for me because it's a lot of people like it, but there are a lot of people that are like me.
Yeah.
People that are in their 30s and still enjoy watching cartoons and have a weird relationship with stuff that's for adults that feels like it's for kids and stuff that's for kids that feels like it should be for adults.
Sure.
And that weird heyday of like 90s cartoons when they were making cartoons out of RoboCop and Rambo.
Yeah.
And the Toxic Avenger, when obviously none of those properties are appropriate for children.
Yeah. So much cocaine flying around those boardrooms back in the day.
Yeah. The vibe is that, like we've said before, kids are watching these movies regardless of whether they're meant for them or not.
Yeah.
So why not try and get their money for toys?
True. A lot of that shit was literally just to sell toys, right? Just a vehicle to pump full of ads. And that's fine. It's made you what you are.
Yeah. And I think what Steve Kostansky does in Psycho Goreman is almost imagine that this movie is based on toys.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Almost imagine a series of toys that he's now trying to animate through puppetry and weird little rubber suits.
Yeah, the movie is just him fucking around with his toys.
Yeah, literally that. Should we take a break and come back and get into it? Because you've given me nothing as to whether you liked it or not.
I'm poker facing.
I know. It's you've been poker facing for days.
Well, I haven't been poker facing for days. In fairness, I only watched it last night. I've been poker facing for a few hours at best, which is about my limit.
So I want to know if you liked it or not, or whether we're going to be in a bit of a Friday the 13th Part 7 situation here with the shoe on the other foot.
Never again. I'll never put myself out there like that, Jamie. I'm not getting my heart broken like that ever again. Not for no man. I'm
sorry that the film that you like on your birthday is so shit, Sam.
Don't you worry. I have a feeling the pendulum's going to swing the other way one of these days.
Well, let's take a break and come back and see if today is that day.
All right. Save your strength.
Whoa!
shit. I guess that's why they call it Phantom Power.
Jamie, your internet bill came back, and there's a lot of action on a website called www.redscared.net. Do you care to explain that, young man?
Yeah, so there's a video on there where it's like a frog in a blender, and you press different numbers to how fast the blender goes. I'm spending a lot of time on there. They also
pressing the old blender button.
Yeah, they also send me a bunch of records at the end of it. Really good records, punk rock records.
Get yourself some serious Chicago style over at redscare.net. And by Chicago style, I don't mean hot dogs. I mean punk rock.
Okay, Sam, I'm back, and it's my birthday, and you can't make me cry on my birthday. So please tell me right now your initial thoughts on Psycho Goreman.
Psycho Goreman 2020. I thought it was fine. I thought it was pretty fine. You look so angry. Yeah, I thought it was all right, man. It's good fun. It's real silly. It's not what I expected, because obviously I knew nothing about it except you telling me it was called Psycho Goreman and it was fun and gory and, insane, etc., etc. I sort of expected some kind of absolute like fucking waterfall of gore massacre movie, just like a real monster rip fest. But I never let my expectations get in the way of the reality of something, and I thought it was pretty fine. I didn't know that this was the guy who did The Void, and I liked maybe the first like 45 minutes of that movie a lot. So this being a bit of a dive into the extended, not the extended universe, I guess that's not really what this is, but like a dive into his oeuvre, his filmmaking universe. Found that very interesting. Can't stand any of the actors, if I'm completely honest. It's what ruined it for me. But the central premise of just having a fuckload of fun with puppets is 100%, exactly what I'm here for. So
I think it's impossible to not have fun with a movie that's E.T., except it's what an alien would be like if it was in any other movie but E.T.
Yeah, it's like E.T. but with no grown-up feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, no sentimentality. And that kind of works. It's a real mixed bag tonally, and I know it's meant to be. We get all these like jarring cuts where you're in the middle of something epic and gory, and then you whip the music away and you're just sort of, rolling around in the dirt being an idiot. And those like comic stings work, but tonally I found it a little bit jarring. I don't like anyone in it at all. But I did enjoy the overall experience of watching the movie, because you'd have to be your head would have to be jammed so far up your ass that you can barely fucking move to not enjoy at least a chunk of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I thought that you might enjoy it a bit more than that, because it's very clear that one of like the cultural touch points that this movie is trying to reference or trying to evoke a feeling of is Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, absolutely. And that does come across, especially in some of the more like brazen use of puppets and claymation and stuff like that. 100%. And there's part of me that wishes I'd seen this. I wish this existed maybe 10, 15 years ago, because I feel like maybe part of my viewing of it is tainted a bit, not by cynicism, but by a slight lack of respect for like, I don't know, pastiche movie making, or just kind of slamming together everything you liked when you were a kid and being like, here you go, you'll like this. I think that's a respectable process, and I think there's a lot of artistry in there. But I just see the strings a bit too much now, in the sense that there are no strings to see. Like, it's a bit too clean. I love Master of the Universe, I do. I mean, what this really did for me was take me back to watching Power Rangers for the first time. It felt almost overwhelmingly Power Rangers at times, which was great. I did really enjoy basically every effect in the movie. The thing that got me so good, the thing that had me creasing, is when he just fucking melts that cop, and then the cop just hangs out with them for the next like hour. I thought that was superb. There's some stuff in here that really made me huck it up good, and there were bits that I found really entertaining. It felt a bit thin as a premise for an entire feature-length movie, but that's just me. It felt very Wolf Cop. You seen Wolf Cop?
Yeah, we've talked about Wolf Cop before.
Yeah.
And like it does feel like Wolf Cop, and I think I can't remember off the top of my head who the Wolf Cop director writer is,
know.
but I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't mates.
Yeah, right. singular vision, writer, director, create
Yeah.
a universe. I feel like that there's one like tiny problem I have that ends up being pretty massive with movies like this, is they're shot in such amazing quality, but nothing else apart from the effects really end up delivering on that standard of quality. It feels like if you shoot Matthew McConaughey with a fucking broken VHS camera, he's going to give you something worth watching. Whereas if you shoot a bunch of non-actors doing non-actor stuff and missing the punchline cues a little bit and just being ever so slightly off, it starts to look, I don't know, just sort of off the boil a bit at times. There's a weird discrepancy looking at something in super HD that's not, that's like your mates acting in a car park. And I think there's charm in that, but it doesn't hold me for 90 minutes plus.
Yeah, I think like Steve Kostansky's previous feature, or at least the previous one that I'm massively familiar with, I didn't see his Leprechaun sequel, remake, whatever that was. Sequel to the remake, I don't know. Because there was a Leprechaun sequel with Hornswoggle, or a remake.
What do you mean with Hornswoggle? What does that mean?
The wrestler Hornswoggle, he's a little Irish.
The wrestler Hornswoggle. You're assuming so much here, JB.
I thought you were into wrestling. He's a little
my
Irish
wrestling. I stopped watching
guy.
wrestling in 90. No, hold on. Let me rephrase. I watch wrestling, but I don't watch it if it happens after 1995.
Yeah, fair.
Maybe 94 actually.
Well, Hornswoggle is a little person with ginger hair,
Right.
and his wrestling shtick is vaguely Leprechaun adjacent.
Is this a current wrestler?
What's current? I don't know. I don't know if he's a current wrestler. I only know him because he was in the Leprechaun remake. But anyway, I don't know if Steve Kostansky's Leprechaun sequel is a sequel to the original movies or a sequel to the Hornswoggle remake. It has neither Hornswoggle nor Warwick Davis.
Hornswoggle. Just looked him up. Fascinating. Into it. Might get back into wrestling. Anyway, back to...
Yeah, so I didn't see that. That's a long diatribe to say I didn't see.
Just tell me everything
the Leprechaun movie
you didn't see in this movie. Yeah, okay.
But the movie that he made before that was called Manborg,
Yeah.
which he made for no money with a bunch of his mates and a bunch of really ropey special effects, and it's so much fucking fun.
Yeah. See, now
Did you watch Manborg?
I didn't watch Manborg, but only because I ran out of time. So I went back and I rewatched that trailer that you sent me. That's like an extended trailer. It's almost like the highlight reel or whatever. And
was that Biocop or was that Manborg?
So I watched both. I watched that first and then realized I was watching the wrong thing. I watched the trailer to Manborg and yeah, I thought it looked fucking superb. And I think, again, what it's doing for me there is it's a real, I don't know, it's just nailed right between the goalposts. The visuals match the performance matches what I assume to be the story in totality from the trailer. It
has a similar sense of humor in which like it undercuts some of the moments with silliness. There's a character of like one of the plot of Manborg is that hell goes to war with humanity and wins, shockingly enough. And that so all the demons keep a few of the strongest humans around to have like gladiatorial battles.
Okay.
One day, Manborg wakes up and doesn't know why he's there or who made him. He was a fighter. He was a soldier in like the war against hell, and is the one person that ever met Lord Draculon and like stood up to him.
Lord Draculon, you say?
And anyway, so there's a jailer, and he really fancies like one of the gang. She's called Prisoner Number 7.
Right.
But he's always like, she'll always be prisoner number 1 to me.
Oh, good grief.
Stuff like that. It's really, it's so funny and very silly. It's got the guy that's the dad in this is like Dr. Cerberus or something. I can't remember.
Adam Brooks.
Yeah, which I love Adam Brooks.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's so much fun.
You think he's good in this?
I think he does what he does in this. And it is slightly jarring seeing him do that in a movie with such high production value, but I like what he does.
Yeah.
Like I've followed all of these guys since I guess Father's Day, which was not directed by Steve Kostansky, but he was a part of the Astron 6 team. And Father's Day is this amazing, insane, stupid, hilarious, trauma-y movie about a demon that likes to fuck dads, called the Fuckmanicus.
Tagline is "Lock up your dads."
Yeah.
That's great.
And he's like the main guy in it. He plays like the jaded old, like Snake Plissken type guy.
Yeah.
Except that he's Canadian and he's retreated to the forest to try and get syrup out of the trees or whatever. I can't really remember. Like everything about everything they do is really fucking Canadian, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's the exact same performance, really. He's a bit more grizzled in that. He's a bit more sort of goofy in Psycho Goreman. But it's great. I think he's really funny. I don't think he's a particularly good actor, but I do think he really embodies like lazy dad energy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was his whole thing in this. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought he was a little bit all over the place, to be honest, in terms of what he was meant to be. There was a big chunk of this where he's meant to be lazy dad. And he did that okay, but I found his character too annoying. And he fucking mumbles. Like, I couldn't hear shit in this film. Nobody's dialogue was cutting through at all. And that drives me bananas. Makes me feel like a fucking demented old man. There's just something about the guy that rubbed me up the wrong way. And I felt like you needed a much stronger presence for that character to work. For that family, for you to give a shit about that family unit and get behind them as this like rascally goof troop offbeat, kind of vacation-esque, whatever the fuck they're meant to be. Like, there just needed to be a stronger anchor there, I think. But here's what I'm realizing as I let words come out of my mouth about this film. I think my enjoyment of this film heavily depends on how much stock I put into just being entertained. Like, just nothing more. Like, there's nothing to hang your hat on in this movie. Like, no, central, like, story to get behind or, like, characters to really like or themes to enjoy. It's just like, how much do I like this clash of high fantasy, low gore, dumb humor, mayhem, and like the whole premise of just lurching from event to event until there's a big Power Rangers fight. Like, how much can I let myself fully enjoy that? I think that determines how much joy you get out of this film, because there's a lot to be had. There's so much visual feast going down in this film. Especially if, like you said, you enjoy Saturday morning cartoons, irony, not taking yourself too seriously, and explosive gore.
Like, I completely agree that there are probably a million problems with this film. Like, I have a difficult relationship with the main girl.
Yeah, she's fucking annoying.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I think, like, she's meant to be annoying. And, like, it works out, I think, because she has to go on a journey to not be fucking annoying to her brother.
Yeah.
Don't really buy it, but I buy into it, so I buy it as a result of that. If she wasn't so annoying, we wouldn't get that fucking musical medley montage scene in the middle, which I think is great. Did you hate that?
Yeah, my skin was crawling. That was a rough time in the movie for me.
But I love the idea that Psycho Goreman can just play drums. Like, it's just like
Look
they
at
never
you.
explain it.
I know what you're doing, Jamie, and I'm not going to let it slide. You're deflecting because you hate it when people can't play guitar in a movie, and you're like, just learn a fucking bar chord, just blag it with a bar chord, and this kid can't even fucking hold the guitar convincingly.
Well,
and I looked at that and I was like, how's he going to fucking wiggle out of this one? It's a kid. Just say it's a kid. We have to let the kid slide.
No, we don't. We don't have to let the kid slide.
He's not even in drop D. I'd believe it if he was in drop D.
I would like to think that Steve Kostansky is doing that on purpose. He's like, it doesn't matter if it looks like you're really playing.
Yeah.
We're doing a kids' TV show, Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah. We're doing Saved by the Bell. No one's going to believe Mario Lopez can play bass.
Exactly. So I don't necessarily think that works, but I enjoy the song. I enjoy that, like, Psycho Goreman can just play drums. Like, been buried in the ground for 1,000 years. He gets up and he can play drums.
But you hate that Michael Myers can drive.
I don't hate that. I just think it's funny to point it out.
You hate that Jason can use a weed whacker.
It's not that it's. I hate that Jason keeps replacing his masks.
Yeah, true.
That's the thing with Jason that I.
These quick costume changes, like at the bottom of fucking the bottom of the lake. Yeah, I think. Listen, I honestly think if you're going to go through this movie and pick out problems with it, you're watching it for the wrong reasons. Like, it's obviously made to be warts and all in a lot of ways. It's made with
Yeah.
that DIY spirit. It's made with the, the central premise that the stuff that people get hung up on in movies don't really matter, especially not in a movie like this. So I didn't sit there with a fucking pen torch and write down every time I saw a fucking, the edge of a mask or some shit. I just wanted a bit more of a tonal consistency and a commitment to the bit, to be honest. It felt a little bit like it was hedging its bets at time as to like how hard it should go on the gore or like how extreme it should go with the humor, because there were bits in this movie that were like laugh out loud funny, some one-liners, some visuals, and there were other bits that felt like watered down late series Simpsons stuff, and I just wasn't feeling that at all. It just feels a bit, I feel bad even saying this, but it feels a bit kind of buffed up to the highest shine it could get for a wider audience, if you know what I mean. Like if it had committed to being way more grindy, I would have been all in. It had that potential. I think they pulled punches with Psycho Goreman a little bit.
I think it's the opposite of that.
Right.
Not that you're wrong, but I think basically people with money saw Manborg and they were like, make a real movie version of that.
Right.
Here's all the money that you need, not loads, but all the money that you need to go out and do that.
Yeah.
Steve Kostansky's a real DIY guy. Like he works in special effects. So like he makes all of those, well, I mean, with a team, but like he basically tinkers with all of that stuff. So like when you see the edge of a mask or whatever, that's because he doesn't care whether you see the edge of a mask. The same way that when you see Frank Langella's eyes in fucking Master of the Universe and the ropey little bits of the fucking Skeletor mask.
Yeah, just like crap around his eyes.
Yeah, it's all part of it. It's all part of that experience and that joy.
I agree, and I love that about this movie. I think the special effects in this are fucking definitely the best thing about the movie, but also incredibly bold. Just the most.
What I mean is that in Master of the Universe, they had all the money in the world and they were trying to make the best movie that they can make.
So weird.
Like they had the fucking Golan Globus money, right? They had, was it Golan and Globus or was it Dino De Laurentiis? I can't remember. Anyway,
those people,
like money people, Hollywood big money producer people from the 80s.
Do you know what the budget was
for Master of the Universe or for this?
For Master of the Universe,
probably too much. Go on.
$22 million in fucking 1986.
Yeah, 15 million of that went on cocaine.
Conservative estimates put it at about 15 million.
But so what I think that Steve Kostansky is trying to do here is trying to make the best movie that he can make, but still keep it within his sensibilities. And like, he didn't get no notes. It's not completely unfettered, raw from the source Kostansky. I don't know if I'd ever say that it pulls any punches, but I think like it eases off on the gore man quite a lot when it feels like it needs to, when it's trying to do something else maybe. And like, I love undermining a character like that. I think that's really funny. I think obviously the moment that sticks out to everybody is how much he loves hunky boys.
Yeah,
and I
enjoyed that.
It's great. Like it's funny when it happens at the beginning when he's like, maybe I do like hunky boys, but then when it comes back later and the fucking Pandora shreds his hunky boy magazine and he goes fucking ape shit at her. It's genius. What an amazing callback. Like, I love that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rein you in there, bud. I'm not gonna say that it's genius that he goes nuts over his hunky boy man mag being shredded. What I think it is mildly amusing and some like fine circular writing, I guess. But I just don't find that funny, to be honest. Like, I think maybe it's just not 100% my sense of humor the way I wish it was. Like, I'm watching it, I'm thinking, holy fuck, if I was that guy who finds this shit funny, I would be creasing on the floor right now. Like, the undermining the character thing, I don't know, it goes into like a sort of cynical postmodern area of pop culture humor that I just don't really get. It doesn't really tickle my pickle. But then, some of the stuff in this really fucking does. So for every like, oy, that's a bit, uncomfortable for me because I don't find it funny. There were several real laugh out loud moments. So
Can you drop like 3 or 4 of your big laugh out loud moments?
no, I could do one.
What about when the guy is trapped in like perpetual living death
That was fine.
and then
Turning
the kid knocks him over?
Yeah, his head exploding. Yeah, that was good. But the kid turning into a brain and nobody caring was fucking superb. It's this fucking giant brain with eyes, and that doesn't even make any sense. The fact that that happens. So that was real, like a lovely surreal twist that really made me laugh. Again, the melting cop who just has the gun like bonded to his hand and just pops off randomly was really funny. I'm trying to think what else. The creature that is like a set of teeth, a brain, and some eyes in a 50s space helmet. Every single movement that guy makes is pure comic gold, and
Yeah.
the kind of special effects puppetry that just makes my heart sing. You know, that was so beautifully done, so well placed, just the right amount for you to just constantly want to see it more as well. I always love that in a movie where the thing is so amazing that they just give you tiny bits of it every now and then. Your eye constantly flies over to it, although it's superb. So part of my problem, I guess, with this movie is not like it doesn't have those memorable moments for me that make me want to watch it again. It doesn't have that rewatch value for me. I've got the image in my head, the sort of like loose associated feeling, and that was kind of enough. So if I can find peace in that, and if I can relax and just be like, yeah, it was an entertaining film, I watched it, and now I'm done, then I'll be fine. There's just something niggling away at me that maybe it's just the potential it has. Like it feels like it could have been fucking explosively hilarious, and for me, it was just like mild ironic chuckle stuff. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree,
Yeah.
but we're different guys, so that's okay.
It's more your sense of humor, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely is. The idea of by the end of the movie, this whole family has this sort of beautiful relationship with this evil space god completely against his will. It's
Yeah.
just it's just a really funny concept to me. Like and so I'm already in with that. Like I'm already in with E.T., but the alien's a megalomaniac fucking mass murderer. Everything else is just a vehicle for things that make me laugh.
Yeah. It's like California
like-
Man, but with a psycho.
Literally, it's a million films that I like, right? It's Shrunken Heads, it's California Man, it's fucking
Maybe that's
it's-
it, though. Maybe you love that, and I'm just not into the amalgamation of all the other things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How did you feel when it first started and you get that sort of opening narration and the sort of screed? Because that to me felt very, very fuzzy and nostalgic and warm, like really, really sort of hit what they were going for. And then the rest of the movie obviously maybe moves in a different direction because it's made in 2020.
Hmm.
And like, but that, at least for that first 35 seconds or whatever it is, it's so warm and lovely, like a little lovely place to be.
I didn't get that from the opening at all, but I did get it in the scenes that are just puppet or costume led. So
Mm.
as much as I don't really like just like big fight scenes and, you know, Power Ranger style fight scenes in movies and stuff, when they all first appeared in the woods and you get introduced to a cast of like costume characters, that felt the right kind of nostalgic to me because nobody does that anymore. You know,
Yeah.
nobody just puts a bunch of guys in what is obviously a costume for the, you know, the stylistic tribute to that kind of, you know, cheap telly and just does that. So that made me feel those exact feelings. The same up on the planet with the council sitting around the table and everyone's in a bizarre alien costume. Just like, I love the lack of rules associated with just creating random aliens because
Yeah.
we're in like a post-dimensional space where anything's possible. You know, one of these fucking guys is like a huge grinding box of human parts that just sprays out blood. Like,
Yeah.
it's absolutely nonsense, and it's perfect. And I don't feel like it's purely a nostalgic thing. I feel like it's more that I genuinely miss that spirit in filmmaking. Just the idea that it doesn't fucking matter if it looks like a costume. It doesn't have to be this like CGI dog that's almost so real you're convinced. It can be a fucking piece of shit and it still gets the job done because it's about convincing you to suspend your disbelief enough to invest in what you're seeing. So I love that. I am 100% endorsing all of that. And that's
Yeah, I
really
think
fun.
like the physicality of it being a real thing that's in a real space.
Yeah.
That does the work for you. Like it's if you CGI fucking Scooby Doo or whatever and it looks like a real dog that talks, like you could do that and that it looks like a real dog and talks, but you can believe that a guy in a suit is also a real dog that talks.
Yeah.
If it's really there, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, we could do 100 hours of talking about this and I would not, my passion and my rage would not reduce. Like, I can't even tell you how much I fucking hate CGI for the most part. Like, it's fine in some scenery and like some expansion of, basic fucking settings that you just can never achieve or whatever. But just get a guy in a fucking suit and let him act.
Yeah.
It's easy. Just do that.
It is easy. Like
Maybe it's
I
not.
read. I think it is.
It's definitely
Like,
not something that people are pulling off well. Present company excluded. They do it great in this.
Yeah, well, I think like even like the guy that plays Psycho Goreman, what's his name? Nick Nineveh, something like that. What is it? It is Matthew Nineveh.
Yeah.
Like I think he's amazing, and he's like acting through fucking God knows how much latex and whatever, and like he really sells his face.
The face, absolutely. The whole physicality, the movement, the how hard he has to work to move his mouth in the way that the words come out. Like all of that looks really challenging, and it's pulled off. You don't question it for a second. It reminded me.
Absolutely not.
Because what I loved about the direction that Stranger Things went in was the Vecna costume, because I thought that was absolutely fantastic. It was such an amazing throwback, and obviously I had the budget to do it next level. This feels similar. I wouldn't even say that there's that much difference in terms of quality. It's just a different vision.
I think the way that they're lit is pretty different, and that's the difference. Really, is that you have all this insane dramatic lighting in Stranger Things, and this is lit like it's a warehouse in the Midwest. Because
there's not much done to sort of.
But I feel like putting the character of Psycho Goreman in a situation where he is completely incongruous is part of the joke, and that's why it really works for me. Another scene that is really funny that's just popped in my head is when they're doing like the shopping montage, and the kid's like, "Hey, nice Halloween costume," and he just blows him up.
Yep, that was it. Yeah. See, more of that made me laugh my fucking ass off. More of that and I would have been sold all night long. It's peppered throughout, but I feel like...
Did you not find it funny that he was dressed like Dr. Alan Grant from Jurassic Park?
Nah, none. That kind of... It's like Harry and the Hendersons shit for me. Like, it just doesn't quite hit.
Don't say Harry and the Hendersons, Sam. You don't want me to cry on my birthday.
Sorry. It's fine. Like, it works, and I can totally look at it and be like, fucking people are going to be getting a kick out of this. That's great. But for some reason, there's just a part of my humor anatomy that it doesn't touch. Like, it doesn't go near it. But blowing that kid up, however, is whipping the needle up to 60 for me. So, if he's blowing up more kids and melting more cops, I just feel like you've got this awesome opportunity here to fucking blow everything up and melt everyone. I don't know why you don't. Why you spend so much time like, haha, now look, he's wearing sunglasses. Like,
because he's not allowed to blow people up. He's been told that he can't by...
Yeah, so he sneaks out and he does it on the sneaky. I don't fucking know. Do it in a dream world. There's a million ways he could be doing this. Plus, don't put that restriction on such an amazing character. That's what pissed me off. Like, great, we've got this amazing...
The movie is the restriction, right?
Gore beast running around who could be blowing up the principal's head, and instead he's fucking following this little girl around playing dolls. Like, come on, let's fucking do something here. That was slowing me down a little bit. I didn't enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the movie though. That's the
exactly
the plot of the movie.
That's why I was bummed when that started happening, because I was like, oh, this whole thing hinges on us falling madly in love with this precocious child, and she's not. Like, there's a few bits where I'm like, that was cute, very cute, but the rest of it I was just like, boy, rough hang.
I don't think anybody falls in love with this little girl, because
I think they think she's so cool.
I don't think she's cool.
What
and
do you
I
think
love
she is?
this movie. I think she's difficult and abrasive.
Right.
And like, the movie wants you to think she's cool, but the movie also wants you to think that she's a dickhead.
Right.
So it's tricky. But like,
it's not. It's just bad acting. I'll wade in. I'll do it for you. She fucking sucks. Like, that's what every role in a movie is: a complex portrayal of a human being. And Yes, she's meant to be annoying sometimes. She's supposed to have a bit of a curve and come back around. You're supposed to like her at the end. Doesn't happen. She doesn't do it well. I'm really sorry, Nita, Jose, Hannah. You are not doing very well in this film. Like, Jesus. We can't
you know
dance
what's
around it just because it's a kid.
like? She's from theatre. She probably.
Theatre sucks, and that's what's wrong with her performance. Sorry to be...
This is insane because every time we talk about an actor that I think sucks, like fucking Stephen Dorff, you're like, yeah, he just does a bunch of theatre. Like, it's cool. He's just doing what he does.
I respect it. I love that people do that for the passion of it. What I don't like is hammy child theatre. Like, there's coming from the theatre, you know, Stephen Dorff, and then there's coming from pantomime because you're 9. Do you know what I mean? This kid doesn't have a rich 40-year history of being a patron of the arts. They have a few hammy performances on a stage that they're pulling into this movie. And it's fine for the movie. I guess it probably is like an adequate performance. But it's too like... It's like my niece on Snapchat. Drives me fucking banan.
Yeah. Do you know what's insane to me?
Kids?
No, like how much Matthew Ninebo looks like Psycho Goreman with no makeup on.
He's really good looking.
He is really good looking, but like it's all there. Every part of it is there. Like they just built on what he already had.
Good bones.
Yeah.
Real good bones. Listen, I don't think you need to worry about this kid. She's probably fucking 30 now. She was probably 30 in the movie. Let's just, give her both barrels. We're not sparing anyone else, are we? Let's be honest.
I mean, I think most people are quite good. Like, who else is there? The mum, she's fine. The brother, he's okay.
I thought he was all right.
Like,
he was the one that I didn't want to close my eyes when they started acting. I thought he was pretty fine. The kid who turned into a brain was good, pre and post brain.
Yeah, no, he was good. And like, who else is there?
Psycho Goreman.
Psycho Goreman. I think he's genuinely good.
Those cops that show up are a bit fucking over the top, aren't they? Meth cops. Jesus Christ.
The cops are funny. The cops in the police station are funny.
Yeah, the cops that show up was one of my favorite lines. Like, remember your training? There's no time, and then just starts firing. That was a great cop line. The writing in this shows that the guy understands what's funny. Like, there's an enormous amount of like really acute understanding of what's funny about cops, especially incompetent, inept cops, and what people want to see happen to them. That's like, a pretty sophisticated understanding of what your audience wants in terms of humor. I really don't want to come off like I'm fucking dumping all over this. It just wasn't that funny to me in a lot of places, and I can see with my fucking eyes and my brain that this is funny to a lot of people. It ticks a lot of people's funny boxes,
Yeah, I think maybe it's possible that he was trying to, be funny for everybody.
Yeah, it's possible to reach that like fairly tame nerd sense of humor that is like, and then reach the totally fucking 9 inches of crust to get to my funny bone that is me. You have to blow up a kid to make me laugh. That's where we start the night. It's possible to round all those bases. I just think it comes across as less of an even movie comedically, and I think that's fucking fine. There's elements of pacing here that are maybe just too subtle for my sense of humor, and that's totally fucking valid.
Yeah, I like. There's no reason for them to make this is what an action scene looks like with no music joke twice.
Yeah, once is absolutely enough. Yeah,
and
it's way more effective once, if you ask me. That's the thing.
Yeah, and I think it's a funny way of like it's funny in the moment, like haha. Like when we think we're doing something cool from a distance, it just looks like not cool. And then like it also really shows you and highlights how hard music is working in the making of a movie and in the editing of a movie. And like how important those tiny things that we take for granted in cinema are. But then I don't know, doing it twice, it just is like, okay.
Yeah, twice ruins it. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like, okay, we found something that tested well. Let's just do it 100 times. Like, I find that sloppy and crowd pleasing and fan servicey in a way that just doesn't like work on me twice. Like, it's like these people that go see a movie and stand up and applaud every time the same bit happens over and over again. It's just like, all right, guy, we get it. That's your thing. But
people who applaud when the plane lands. How do you feel about that, Sam?
I actually think that's fucking absolutely fine, and I'll tell you why very briefly.
Go on.
Flying is fucking astonishing. Like, people are so blasé and so fucking like desensitized to how fucking incredible it is to get onto an airplane, sit down, get drunk, watch movies, hang out, have the time of your fucking life, 36,000 feet above the surface of the earth. What? Look out the window and see clouds, and look and fucking see like the Grand Canyon and the pyramids and shit like that. And then
Where are you
land-
flying? What is
Not in the
this
same flight
journey?
necessarily? But then fucking that giant hulk of metal just like boop, lands on a strip of concrete, and everyone lives, and everyone gets to be somewhere else. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, applaud. Jesus, give the guy a fucking blowjob. This is incredible.
But the pilot doesn't fly the plane. The plane
Yes,
flies
they
itself.
do.
No, they don't.
Come
They
on.
haven't for they haven't
Pilots up
for
there
a long
pedaling
time.
and like pulling all the levers, releasing the steam, doing all the hard work. It's a serious operation up there.
Pilots don't fly the plane. The plane flies the plane. The pilots are there, and just in case anything goes wrong.
Yeah, so applaud that. Fuck me. What if they're not there? Jesus Christ.
I'm not clapping for you to do your job.
First
No
of
one
all,
claps. No one claps at me when I do my job, even when I do it really, really well.
don't bait me to say unkind things, Jamie. Listen, fucking applaud those heroes. I still salute them in the terminal. I think pilots are amazing, and I think airplanes are amazing.
I hate pilots almost as much as I hate cops.
They have nothing in common. All they do
They've
is
got-
make your dreams come true.
They've got uniforms. They are, yeah.
No, that's
That's it.
They got two fucking egg fire trucks as well. Listen, the joy of flying is lost on so many fucking jaded people, because you could step onto a plane, go to sleep, and wake up on another continent and just have the fucking joy of being able to step out in another world. I still think it's amazing. I still love every second of it. Me and my mum argue about this all the time.
If a pilot had any real capacity to do something meaningful with their lives, they would give me more leg room.
That is not the pilot's remit, Jamie. The pilot can't give you more leg room. I hate to
They
break
could.
it
I
to
could
you.
sit in the cockpit.
I agree that we need more legroom in coach. I 100% agree. And you can sit in the cockpit on your birthday if you ask really nicely. But
I think maybe not after 9/11. I think cockpits are off limits since 9/11.
boring.
I know,
think,
and to be fair, it's. I think it's right, because if they let me in the cockpit,
you would kill
we're going
me
down.
immediately.
We're going down, and I'll say death to pilots and cops as we crash into the Andes.
Good
Like,
grief. Into the Andes. Nice. I think when we, the royal we, applaud a landing, we're applauding all of the staff. I'm applauding the stewards and stewardesses, the aircraft flight team. I'm applauding the people that built the plane. I'm applauding the maintenance crew, the baggage handlers, everyone involved in making aviation possible.
I hate all
I
of
salute
them.
you.
scum of the earth, frankly.
I mean, it's not doing great things for the environment, I hear. But yeah.
Yeah, I drank a kind of Pepsi once
Yeah.
on a Zoom with you, and you were like, they're the biggest polluter in the world, or
Actually,
something.
it's Coca-Cola, the biggest plastic polluter in the world. You gotta go easy
Well-
on that shit, bud. I'm talking about your health, okay?
There's 0 calories in a Pepsi Max, Sam.
That's not how you measure health. We're not gonna get into this, okay? Point being, I back the applauders. 9 times out of 10, it's like kids and, people who are just like overly enthusiastic, neurodivergent people who love flying and shit. And I'm
Kids are down
100%
there with
into that.
pilots and cops for me.
Kids, yeah, me too. Absolutely, yeah.
They wear a
Um,
uniform, like,
And they make themselves
Yeah.
a target by applauding. At least you know which kids you're going to hit with your suitcase when you get off the plane.
yeah. I would much rather applaud the credits of a movie
Wow.
than the pilot of a plane.
I mean, I have to point out the difference. The pilot can hear you. It might boost his confidence. The fucking filmmakers can't hear you. The Cineworld staff can hear you at best. And they're going, fucking dick. The pilot is like, yeah, I'm going to land the next one too. Without your applause, you might have no reason to continue landing.
Do you remember there's like an old bit of David Spade stand-up where he's like, every time you get on a plane, the pilot comes on and is like, hello, my name is Pete. I'll be a pilot today. Like, you turn to the person next to you and be like, oh, he's good.
Decent.
Yeah.
Flying has given us so much amazing comedy. Everyone jokes about flights. I think it's. I could easily be a jaded, sad. Oh yeah, fucking. Why don't you applaud my dick? Like it's easy to.
Why don't you applaud my dick?
I mean,
It's my
most people
birthday,
do.
Sam.
Yeah, I will applaud your dick tonight. Instead of praying, I normally kneel by the bed and just applaud various penises. I think tonight, maybe you.
Thanks, mate. It's about time.
Yeah, I look forward to every flight I take. Even if I've taken like 6 flights in a row and I'm fucked, I'm still like, "Ooh, at least we get to go in the plane." Like,
I hate it. I think it's a sky bus, but it's worse than the bus. It's like what American people treat the bus like is planes for me.
what does that mean?
Like American people hate taking the bus, right? The bus is a horrible thing
Is that
in
well,
America.
yeah,
I have no
yeah.
idea. I've never gotten a bus in America.
I think it's more like a fucking like privileged dickheads hate taking the bus. I love you pilots, and I have very, very mixed feelings about cops, if I'm honest.
You have mixed feelings about cops.
Yeah, I love that George Carlin bit where they say, "Get on the plane." Fuck you! I'm getting in the plane. So many good Carlin bits about flying. Anyway, point being, yes, I would applaud a pilot, especially if I'd had 16 free beers and watched 4 great movies.
But what about when you're flying to fucking Budapest and you're on a
oh, yeah.
fucking sardine tin full of fucking stag doos?
That's a rougher flight for
Yeah.
sure. So I try and isolate myself to the miracle of aviation and just stare out the window as much as I can. But it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's also not easy when you get sat next to someone obnoxious or, just by some sheer like twist of fate, your general seating area is unpleasant for some reason. Like that's always rough. And it's normally for a really long flight. So that's obviously terrible. But there's normally ways around it.
I always book a window seat and somebody always sits in my window seat.
Really? You always have to move them.
I mean, sometimes they just don't.
Well, they don't move.
No. They're just
Jamie,
like,
you've got to be more assertive.
I mean, I'm a pretty assertive guy, but they just don't move sometimes. And I'm like, all right, well, fuck me, I guess. I only paid £38 to sit in that seat specifically.
I love that fuck me, I guess, is your response. Fuck you, I guess, is my response. That guy's not having a good flight. He's fucking moving, whether he likes it or not, and the rest of his flight is going to be so painfully unpleasant. Your next flight resolution, if someone sits in your window seat, they're going to get it, both barrels.
So what I've done to counteract this is I've just stopped paying for seats.
Stop flying.
I've not stopped flying because, I love polluting and going to other countries.
Yeah, I don't pay for the seat allocation bullshit because I feel like I'm more likely to get lucky at the airport by going up to the desk and saying, "Look, I didn't pick seats. Can you put me next to like where there's no one sitting?" Because 9 times out of 10 they just say yes because they don't give a shit.
When I get a seat, it's because they've allocated it me on online check-in. Do you just check in at the airport?
I like to
Like a
mix it up.
rube.
I quite often do check in at the airport just for the fun, and I like to talk to a human because I enjoy every aspect of flying. So,
Yeah,
and I
well,
always pull shit like try and get my guitar on the plane for free, and I always like ask for upgrades, and you can't do that on a fucking dumb dick phone or
No.
whatever. So I always go and fuck with them a little bit.
I guess because I mostly fly to Europe. I'm mostly on fucking buttfuck airlines.
There's not that many benefits to be had, right?
No, and there's also they charge you to check in person.
Yeah, so what I will normally do is check in online and then just go up to the desk and just have a chat. Just be like, "Did you get her gluten-free meal? Did you do you want to let me take this guitar on for free? How do you feel about this?" Like I'll just ask all the questions.
I tell you what, then Sam, they're not clapping for you.
Fuck no, they hate my guts. But what they do like is if you say, "Listen, I really don't want to sit next to anyone. Can you just put me somewhere where there's no one?" They're quite often like, "Yeah, no problem." And then you end up on the fucking row with nobody on it. It's great.
How do you feel about being on the row where you get all the leg room, but if the plane goes down, you've got to take charge?
I've never been in that position. I've always kind of hoped I would end up there, but it looks like I don't know. I don't care about leg room. I don't give a fuck about leg room. I've got long legs and they fit and it's fine. I don't get all pissy about it. I just sit like a fucking person for 8 hours and then leave. I don't understand why people are like, "Oh, I don't have all my space." Like, fuck you, man. Jesus, you ever sat in a chair? Just do that. It's not hard. and then
But have
get
you ever
off.
sat in a chair with another chair less than a leg's distance away from you?
Yeah,
Like-
every time I fly, you just
Like-
deal with it. You're flying in the sky. It's
I
going to be
don't-
uncomfortable. Like the compromise is your legs are a bit sore. Like you're flying at light speed in the sky. Fucking get over it. Oh, I got pretzels instead of nuts. Kill yourself. If that's your attitude towards flying, life no longer has any meaning for you.
I got when we flew to Florida a couple of years ago. We were flying into Newark, and we were flying
It's
with
not in Florida.
no, we were flying to Florida via Newark,
Got you.
and I think we flew with Delta.
Hmm.
And the vegan meal that they gave us on the plane was perfectly fine. Like, but it also came with a little gluten-free, like bread bun.
Oh yeah.
Presumably
Very
because they're
familiar with
like,
these. Yeah.
yeah. Presumably they were like, well, if you're vegan, you might as well be gluten-free. Like, we'll cover all bases with one meal.
Yeah.
And it felt like a chamois leather. It was so weird and
They're
spongy and fibrous. It was
Yeah.
so odd.
And yet strangely wet. They're so
Yeah.
weird. They're so fucking weird. People forget you can take whatever fucking food you want on the plane. Just fucking take the food you like. I don't like airplane food. So take some food that you like, you whining little dick. It's not hard. What
Yeah.
are these people doing? People need to
I
learn
do
how
like
to fly
I do
better.
like free booze. That's the thing that I like about being on a plane is that you
Unlimited
get
free. Where else do you go where you get unlimited free booze? Tell me that.
Costa del Sol, all inclusive.
Yeah, you pay for it.
Well, yeah, you pay for it on a plane. It's not
Kinda.
free to
They
fly.
don't have to, but they don't have to give you the free booze, do they? They have to at an all-inclusive holiday. It's part of the fucking deal.
Anyway, people that clap when an airplane lands, right?
Yeah.
They deserve a warrior's death.
Or to be eaten by the pilot. If you clap the landing, the pilot eats you.
Yeah.
That was an incredible effect when he first eats that fucking Power Ranger guy.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
Like when he eats the Goblin King slightly earlier, like it's
Yeah.
cool. But like when you see the full effect at the end when he eats the paladin or whatever,
With the big, like, spread mouth.
yeah, really fucking cool.
Excellent. Just
So much blood.
top tier effects. Yeah. Superb.
The movie that you expected was like, I don't know, Adam Chaplin or something.
Don't know what that is. What's
Which-
Adam Chaplin?
It's a super gooey mega gore movie.
Charlie
but it's
Chaplin
not
sequel.
but it's not good, Sam.
Well, here's the thing. My expectation of what a movie's going to be lasts about 4 seconds because the movie
Yeah.
starts and then I get rid of it immediately. I'm not the kind of person who's like, oh, it wasn't what I thought it would be. Because, well, you were wrong to think that because it is what it
Yeah.
is. I take it as what it is. I think the only reason I thought it was going to be that is because you'd hyped it to be, I don't know, just the way you described it made me think it was going to be like that. But that was in the bin maybe about, 3 minutes in. And what I got, I think, is something really lovable and something that feels very wholesome in an incredibly strange way. It's obviously this like huge love letter to, mid to late 80s, early 90s trash TV, gore movies, be real stuff. Total junk. Basically, it's like it's like the kind of pizza that has fucking everything on it, just like a whole fucking upended dustbin on your pizza. And that's fucking rad in a lot of ways. And there's obviously a
Yeah.
lot of shit to pick through in other ways. But the intent feels a little bit, it feels pure, but it feels a little bit like there's something missing in the delivery here and there. It's like having that pizza delivered to you cold. I think if we made 6 of these and put them out every night on TV, it would be perfect. Like, there's something about it that feels like it should be serialized. I think because it's obviously referencing a lot of things that were serialized and it's coming out
Yeah.
of a world of, quick delivery, serialized, final confrontation based, short, quippy narratives. It feels like it would have been better as a short series or something, to be honest. Not to say that it doesn't work in its current format. There's just parts of it that feel a bit labored, and you'd have less things that get a bit annoying, and you'd have more things that are like, one hit,
Yeah.
quick joke, move on, quick joke, move on. So yeah, maybe
And you could even repeat jokes,
yeah,
but it's just
In
in
different
a different
episodes.
episode. Like the music thing. Like that wouldn't be so annoying if we did it again 4 episodes time.
absolutely.
Yeah, I sort of wish that this movie would get the sort of Black Dynamite treatment. I don't know if you remember when Black Dynamite came out. It was like it slow burned into like a huge cult success, just basically through word of mouth.
Mm.
To the point where it basically rejuvenated Michael Jai White's career. They made like a manga style animation series of it. They made Undercover Brother 2, which is ostensibly Black Dynamite 2 with Michael Jai White, but he's
Right.
playing Undercover Brother, which is a different blaxploitation spoof. Weird. But like, I sort of wish that we were going to get that kind of thing off the back of Psycho Goreman, because I would love a Psycho Goreman Saturday morning cartoon style TV show.
For adults.
Yeah, for adults, but made as if it was a Saturday morning cartoon show, like
Right.
Denver the Last Dinosaur or whatever, where it's essentially, Captain Planet, except Captain Planet is Psycho Goreman. Everybody else is the same as they would be
Yeah.
in an 80s Saturday morning cartoon show, but Psycho Goreman has the personality of Psycho Goreman and wants to kill everybody.
Yeah.
I think that would be great, and I think there's tons and tons of mileage in that.
Yeah, that feels very Toxic Avenger, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't know. I don't know how well it converts. I think he's a bit too horrific visually to pull that off unless you do it in the style in the movie where he's got like lots of neon light kind of radiating out of his head.
Yeah.
If you I guess sort of shave off some of the gore and accentuate some more of the kind of comic book aspects there. Yeah, it could work.
I even think that the idea of him being very gory, again, that sort of incongruity with the world around it is what would make that fun for me. But the last thing I want is fucking bullshit flash animation. Like, did you ever play Cuphead?
Yeah, love Cuphead.
Cuphead, the game, amazing. The way that the animation style translates in the game is incredible.
Yeah, it's
the
crazy.
cartoon series on Netflix looks like dog shit. It
I
looks
would watch
like
it if you paid me. Yeah, it's horseshit.
somebody tried really hard and missed.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing that I want for Psycho Goreman.
Well, that's what I think. That's a risk that isn't worth taking with stuff like this, if you ask me. Like wringing it out completely and just milking every drop. I think there's such an enormous universe attached to this movie that's so beautiful but so throwaway. That's part of the magic of it. That's what makes it so entertaining. It's like, let's just invent a load on the planet. Shit, fuck. Like it's just all this random fucking.
The planet is called Gygax.
Gygax, of course it is. Yeah. But then all the other planets, like. All the stuff in this like expanded universe and all these characters and all these high fantasy, world building shit that goes on that is ultimately just fucking binned immediately, I think is part of the beauty. It's kind of showing you all this stuff is dumb. It's all just made up. Here it is, and it's gone. It doesn't have to be an epic fucking 62 movie series where we follow fucking Cyclops through middle school or whatever the fuck. Like it's there and then it's not, and that's part of the magic. And it's visually stunning while it's there.
It would be interesting maybe to see another story in this world.
Yeah, you think?
Maybe pick up some of the loose threads. I think like one of the things that I sort of admire about this is that it is all throwaway, but the internal logic is basically sound.
I don't know. In one movie, it almost has a canon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like there's enough coherence that it is believable. But yeah, I don't know. I'm torn. I don't think it needs to be more. But what would you want?
Maybe I don't want more Psycho Goreman. Maybe I want more Steve Kostansky. This flavor rather than the Void flavor. I loved the Void. I thought it was great. But I like fun, and this flavor of fun from these Astron 6 guys way more than I want a straight horror movie. There are a million people making perfectly fine straight horror movies.
Yeah.
Like I don't need one of the people who is making comedy that feels like it's specifically for me to be doing that.
Yeah, I want to hear more of these voices for sure. Like this feels like one super nerdy, very dedicated, extremely talented guys. Not one man show, but like, writer, director, a real solid vision, a big opportunity to put something on like fairly mainstream horror TV. It feels like all that. I want more of definitely of those voices, of those sort of maybe slightly less hammy nostalgic voices, but more from them, definitely. Like
Yeah.
his fucking effects are absolutely fantastic. Total feast for the eyes shit. I would watch like a highlight reel of the effects of this movie on repeat for hours. It's so good.
Yeah. And like, this isn't the only way that he can do effects. Like, he works in special effects on like loads of quite mainstream stuff.
Yeah, like Suicide Squad, like
Yeah.
some incredibly mainstream, massive high budget stuff. He's not just like a claymation guy or whatever.
No,
Do you know what I
exactly.
mean?
I would be really interested in you watching Manborg
As
and
man.
getting your two penneth on that,
Yeah.
because I mean it's only an hour, so if you get a chance to watch it, we can
Mm.
chat about it. But fuck that for now. Why don't we take a break and we'll come back and we'll finish ourselves off.
All right, let's okay, let's do that.
Will you give it up, man? Nobody's out there. We're alone. Oh no, there's somebody out there. I'm picking up all this crosstalk.
Okay, Sam, I'm back. Are you back?
I am also back.
Why don't you give me your final sum up before I give you mine?
It's tricky. This movie put me in a very uncomfortable place. I wanted to just be
The back of a
entertained.
Volvo.
Yeah, back of a Volvo.
It's Volkswagen. It's
Volkswagen.
fucking Volkswagen. Every
It's a Volvo
time.
for us. Yeah, this movie stuck a fucking stick in my spokes because I wanted to be freewheeling down the fucking Free Love Freeway, enjoying myself at every turn, kids' heads popping, dads exploding, all that good stuff. But there was just a few grinds that weren't to my taste. And I don't think that really detracts from the beauty and the magic of the vision behind this movie. The sort of the lore that's created and then immediately binned. I have an enormous amount of respect for that level of like disposable entertainment. I think that's what we need more of in the world. The right kind of disposable, or recycled, should I say. There's an enormous amount of fun here that's fucking undeniable. Like, even if you're going into this the most crusty dude, by the end of it, you're at least cracking a smile or you're like frowning in a way that's amusing. So there's a ton to love here. And I think hopefully it's, I'm not going to say it's the start. This guy's been working for a long time, but I'd love for it to be something that we look back on and say, holy shit, do you remember this guy started doing Psycho Goreman and now he's doing something where way more kids explode. So I'm going to give this.
I hope he does. I hope he doesn't do the Peter Jackson.
Fuck Peter Jackson, as far as I'm concerned. I don't like anything Peter Jackson ever did. But are you thinking like he started in crazy horror and then did Lord of the Rings?
Crazy, insane, sort of goofy horror comedies that were really gooey, and then now is making. I mean, now he's basically making exclusively Beatles documentary remasters, which is fucking absolute curveball. But fingers crossed, we don't get that.
Yeah, let's.
I would like to see his Frighteners. I'd like to see Steve Kostansky's high budget, big stars, but still his personality.
Oh, so
Like,
would
I would like to see that, but I don't want to see, Steve Astron 6's King fucking Dong or whatever.
King Dong. I mean, I think, because I'm so basic, all this movie was really lacking for me was a proper cast. I know that's insulting to the people that were in the movie, and I apologize. It's just what I want from a movie is good acting for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, these could have been like little Play-Doh people, as the gore effects. If there was good actors, I would have fucking bought it. There's so much, heart and soul gone into this to be kind of pissed away by people who aren't doing the movie justice with their acting. And that's, again, a personal preference. So I'm going to give this 6 out of 10 exploding children.
Okay. Obviously, I like this film an awful lot more than you.
Yes.
I think this film is brill from front to back. I think there are a bunch of jokes that don't work,
Yeah.
but I think the jokes come thick enough and fast enough and viscous enough that like it's fine. They just either they land or they just sort of glide by.
Mm-hmm.
I think I love Psycho Goreman as a character. He's hilarious, and like I have mixed feelings about the main girl, Mimi, played by Nita Josie Hannah, but I love
fucking Jose, dude. Is that it's Josie? Sorry, my apologies, everyone.
But like I do love the idea of like the tiny 9-year-old girl like juxtaposed with this huge 7-foot space dictator or
That
whatever.
was one of the taglines, right? Little girl, big psycho.
Yeah, that's just fun, and like I think he has loads of really funny lines that are really also just throwaway. Like one point, someone says something's nice, and he says it'd be nicer if you were dead.
If you were dead, yeah. That's a really good line. It's a kid as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and like he can never remember Luke's name, and that's really funny.
That is hysterical. That poor kid. It's like, because when he can't remember the name, you forget the name, which is great. It's so
Yeah.
fucking funny.
And like, just like you, I love the bio cop, like melted cop stuff.
Yeah.
I obviously love all of the insane space council. That one guy that's really camp. It's like it goes on a bit and it hammers it a little bit, but like in every movie that was like this, there was always one fucking wibbly alien that was fucking Anthony Daniels or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like,
I loved all that. I thought that was great. And that was a point in the movie where even if the jokes weren't landing for me, they did kind of cruise by rather than like make me cringe. Like,
yeah.
it was so silly that it was perfect. It was, really good fun stuff up there.
I really enjoyed one of the jokes that really, really landed for me in those sections is towards the end when he just pulls out like a revolver and he's like, well, who wants to kill themselves first?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a revolver. It's just an earth gun.
Yeah.
Like, that's funny to me.
Yeah.
Again, it's that weird sort of incongruity between like things that we recognize and things that are familiar to us, and then obviously things that are celestial or intergalactic or whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously that is this film's bread and butter, and they play with that quite a lot, but like it generally always works for me.
Yeah.
I love all of the little guys from Psycho Gorman's gang.
Yeah, they're good fun.
Like, I don't understand why they came to collect him if they were just going to kill him. But
yeah, none of that. And they had poison blades and, all the classic stuff. Like, a lot of this is when you're a kid and you're playing and you have to make up reasons for things to happen. Like, that's how this movie, like, kind of lurches along scripting wise, is like that exact logic, which, again, like, I have a huge amount of respect for as a narrative device for an actual film with millions of dollars involved. It just doesn't always land for me. I think it's incredibly fun, and it comes from a place of pure fun, which is, worthy of the highest fucking respect.
Yeah, I just think like maybe when he contacts you through the TV, you just say, "No, thank you. We're happy where we are. I've got the crown."
Yeah, I like the contact through the TV thing. I thought that was fun too.
Also, like, I know that you don't really like the dad, Adam Brooks, but like later when he's like, "This TV just won't stop bleeding."
Yeah, that was really funny. Great line. There's some of that humor feels very peak SNL. Like it's maybe a Canadian thing. I don't know, but it's really fucking just clever, dry observational comedy. When it works, it really fucking works, and when it doesn't, it just feels like it's trying a bit too hard. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, where the fuck would we be if these guys weren't trying really hard? Do you know what I mean? We'd have something really mediocre.
For every Wayne's World, there was 1,000 coffee talk with Paul Baldwin's. Do you know what I mean?
What the fuck is that?
It was a Mike Myers sketch.
Okay.
Where he's like, hey, it was a different public access show that Mike Myers' character was the host of. His name was Paul Baldwin. It was called Coffee Talk, and they were New Yorkers. So it was like, hey, welcome to Coffee Talk with me, Paul Baldwin. We're going to talk about dogs, coffee. Let's take a call. Hey, caller, what's your question? Could a dog drink coffee? No, a dog could not drink coffee. Like, it's
I think maybe
nonsense.
I have seen this. That's great.
It just goes on for ages. Like, it's funny, but it's not funny.
Yeah, for every Wayne's World, there's a Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy fucking rips.
Tommy Boy sucks.
Now, when did you last watch Tommy Boy?
Honestly, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Fuck.
It's just not funny. There's no jokes. There's like 3 jokes.
The jokes are Chris Farley's fat,
yeah,
and David Spade is a snidely little dickhead.
He's not snide enough for me, and Farley's not fat enough. Like, it just doesn't.
But he's a fat guy in a little coat. Come on.
I feel too sad about Chris Farley to laugh at him being fat, and I think all those guys need to fucking have a bloody good look at themselves for being so mean to him. But the point being, like, it's just not funny. It's not, I don't know, just doesn't work.
Well, okay.
It's doing a planes, trains, and automobiles thing badly, which is,
Yeah.
you're not allowed to do that, I'm afraid.
Anyway, what was my point? That's where Adam Brooks, I think, really shines, is like the delivery of little lines like that almost feel like they weren't written.
Yeah,
And
maybe.
like he does that, and they feel true to the character, and also like a real thing that somebody would say. Like sometimes when
I
he's
think
like,
that TV line, you'd have to be fucking so inept not to make that land. It's just such a funny line. Like, it's funny
Yeah.
independent of anything else. Guys holding TV says that's just funny. Everything else, I think, is strongly dependent on some acting chops.
well, I think like, but he does some of that acting chop stuff really funny, like when he makes them chicken, and he just has some funny lines in that scene where he's cooked the chicken in the microwave. And like
Some of that's funny. The chicken bit that's funny is when he says she loved it, she ate it all, and then it cuts to the full plate. The mum's just like, no, she didn't. Like, some of that is funny. That family dynamic stuff works.
yeah, like the mum is more bad than nothing, I would say.
She's not given as much, though, I don't think, tragically.
Yeah.
This fucking, I don't know what it is, the fucking dad show for half this movie, and you're just like, get out of here, man. Next, the whole time. Like, I would wanted more of the mum, to be honest, but yeah, we're stuck with this guy, so it is what it is.
Can I tell you my favorite effect in the whole movie?
Yeah.
When like, what's the Templar Pandora transports the Earth Woman to the Space
Yeah.
Council,
Yeah.
and then like does that insane thing to her head where it's like cycling through normal and then like lights coming out of her face. It's fucking amazing.
It is sick.
It's almost scary.
Yeah.
In like a movie which, we're a horror podcast and it is horror adjacent, but it's not a horror movie.
Right.
That is the nearest thing to horror in this entire movie, I would say. That one effect.
Yeah, possibly. The bit where she compresses her into a tiny little flesh cube's fun.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Like, again, this movie's just full of such great ideas. The little claymation, like, minion guy that's, like, hovering, the little, like, robot, he's so good. It looks so fucking good. That's one of my favorite effects. I like it when he pulls the guy's face off in the woods. That looks amazing. When Psycho Goreman's having his head ripped off and he just pulls it back on. That's fucking great. Melty Cop guy is so fucking good.
It's so funny as well because of like the noises that he makes, the physicality that whatever actor is under there is doing is so funny. So like you get this obviously horrendous and very Steve Kostansky looking like physical presence, but then you also get like this sort of bumbling, borderline like mute screaming and chuckling. It's just it really sells it in a way that like some of the other characters that we see maybe aren't sold quite as well. Some of those little sort of gang in the woods, like obviously the Goblin King guy is great.
Yeah.
And what's his actual name? Dark Scream.
Right.
Cassius 3000, the space pirate with his little bird.
So dumb.
Like,
I really like that though. I was all in. I was like, how dumb can we get? This is brilliant.
like I do like that, and that's Connor Sweeney, and he's one of the Astron 6 guys.
Right.
So like you could tell it's his voice, and he also voices the little bird.
Yeah.
And they have a little back and forth. I can't remember what it was, but I remember it being funny.
And its beak is just so shit. Like it's brilliant. I was all in on that.
He looks shit too though. Like he looks like someone's painted Rosie and Jim gold or something.
Yeah, really bad. But I love that. Again, like you're gonna get no criticism out of me on like costume based stuff in this movie whatsoever. It's all like feats of fucking magic to my eyes. I love it all. The head rolling down the road and the sort of doll creaturey woman thing I can kind of take or leave, but I can take or leave anything that's kind of doll based in any movie anyway, to be honest. But that's not a comment on the costume or the special effects work at all. Every effect in this movie works for me. All of it hits. All of it's fucking wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I love Death Trapper. That's the little tub of guts with a porthole,
Yeah, great fun.
which is the second you see it, you're like, well, that's getting smashed and all the blood's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. Those pumps are going to be gushing gore in moments. Yeah, I just thought that was inventive. And what I love is when someone has a crazy idea and they actually make it happen.
Yeah.
Anyone could, it's like these people who fucking bitch about abstract art, like, oh, anyone could do that. Yeah, but you fucking didn't. Sure, maybe anyone could come up with the idea of a fucking sentient tub of guts with two big taps on it, blasting out gore periodically. But who's going to actually take the time to make that a thing on screen in an actual movie and have it do its thing? It's borderline miraculous that someone could take ideas so whimsical, so childlike, and so full of, that wonder that you get when you think about really horrific shit and actually deliver on it. That to me is the main like central triumph of this movie, is that it is a realization of all of those dumb ideas. I love it.
In fact, the effect that I'm talking about isn't when she takes the person up to the council. It's when she gets the memories out of the cop.
Gets the memories out of the cop.
Like she implants her memories in the cop in the police station.
Oh.
And it's like flashing and intense, and
yeah, I think I remember what you mean. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's like, it's genuinely the closest thing to scary in this movie.
Do you think people are bummed about the brain? Because I think the brain's hysterical, but it felt to me in my comic read of the movie like it might be the thing that people are like, oh, this fucking brain. Like, I thought it was cool as hell.
Nobody's bummed about the brain. It's funny.
Good. Just check.
It's funny. Like, she has a crush on him.
Yeah.
He turns into a brain. She still has a crush on him. His family don't care. Like,
yeah, it's very, very funny to me.
it's just like at the dinner table waving his little brain tentacles around. Like, it's just very funny.
Felt very Red Dwarf, like the peak, middle seasons of Red Dwarf. Love that.
Yeah. This movie ends with a rap that sums up the plot.
Is that too much?
It's too much, and it's just right at the same time, I think.
Yeah, you're right, actually. I almost expected it. That's how just right it was.
Like, and the rap is good in that 90s way. It sounds almost identical to TURTLE Power.
Yeah.
And like, it's great. I think it's the perfect way of ending this movie.
Yeah, I think that, or some kind of terrible, Dio-esque metal song that sums up the plot would have been a thing too. But that's way more, a cultural reference for people who watch movies of a certain type, right? The rap, the rap movie that sums up the entire plot. It made me think of my favorite one of those is at the end of Dragnet, when Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd rap the fuck. It's absolutely awful. Tom Hanks rapping, wow. He must have had a beakful before he does that rap. It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I think there was a time in the 90s where everyone thought they were allowed to rap.
Yeah.
There's an Elvira song where she raps. It's called the Monster Rap.
Okay.
Monster spelled MONSTA.
I don't need to ever hear that.
And it's just her rapping about all the monsters that she knows and how they're all her friends.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at shit like that. One of them is that it's kind of innocent, I guess, until someone taps them on the shoulder and goes, hey, leave rap alone.
You know
what I mean?
Rap music was an important thing to a certain demographic of people.
To a lot of white people, rap music is very important.
Well, sure. But that's only because of people like Elvira, right?
Yeah, like trailblazers like Dan Aykroyd. Trailblazing Canadian rappers like Dan Aykroyd. I feel like this movie's a good barometer of like whether someone gets to be your friend or not. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say so.
Did I pass with a 6 out of 10? Probably not.
I think you're teetering on the rim, and I'm going to flush you.
Precipice. Fuck.
I'll flush you if you don't like one more movie that I love.
Okay. Do you know what? This movie is a little bit fucking
Neon Maniacs.
Yeah, it's a little bit Neon Maniacs at times.
Yeah, well, I mean, 100% Steve Kostansky has seen that movie.
I think Steve Kostansky might have seen every film. Like,
Yeah.
he's drawing from a broad palette of, popular nerd reference points here. And I think that's, obviously his thing.
Yeah. And I mean, like I say, if you're listening to this and you liked Psycho Goreman, I would massively, massively recommend that you watch both Father's Day and Manborg. Even their short films. Adam Brooks directed a short film called Cowboys, about cowboys in a situation where they might end up having to turn to cannibalism, and it's great. And they did an Astron 6 series called Divorced Dad, which also was amazing. I really love all the shit that they do. It is very much Jamie Carruthers' wheelhouse.
A whole bunch of stuff for you to check out.
So my rating, Sam,
Yeah.
it's going to shock you that I'm giving this full marks, but I give it 15 little sentient buckets of blood out of 15.
Top
It's
marks.
a hoot. It's a hoot. It feels like a film that, if you were dumb enough to have children, you could watch it with them.
How old would they have to be, though? Is this 15?
It is a 15, but, we were
A lot
all
of
watching
frigs.
films. We're watching films. There are a lot of frigs. There are also some fucks.
Some frigs and some hecks. I counted one fuck.
Yeah. I think you have a limited amount, you have a finite amount of fucks in order to gain a PG-13 or a 15.
It's a real shame,
Yeah.
but it is what it is.
And we all watched movies that were far too old for us when we were kids. And I think, you could comfortably show a 12-year-old this movie and have them be scarred in the right way.
I wouldn't show a 12-year-old this movie, for the record, if social services are listening. I'd show them Masters of the Universe. As a 12-year-old, I'm not showing them this. I shit my pants at Masters of the Universe when I was 12.
Exactly. And
Yeah, but it's like a
12-year-olds
fucking, it's like a 12. It's not this.
Well, so Master of the Universe is a PG. I've got it literally right here,
Is it?
right next to me.
There you go. And it scared me. So I'm not showing some fucking kid these exploding dickwads and heads getting ripped off and fucking...
But in the US, this is a PG-13, so it's only 1 year
Wow.
older than a 12.
Is it really? You can be
Yeah.
13 and watch this totally fine in the US.
Yeah, I think so. I don't really know how the rating system works there. Because you can go see an R-rated movie if you've got an adult with you.
Can you?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments how wrong we are. How does it work? 13 seems young to watch this fucking movie. God damn.
I mean, I was 12, 13 when I saw Evil Dead, right?
That's too young, dude. That's way too young.
It's
I was
not.
18.
Well, that's too old.
I was grateful at 18.
Well, Sam, I've had a wonderful birthday listening to
Aw.
you denigrate one of my favorite modern horror comedy classics.
Hey, you denigrate movies that you love all the time. I
It's true.
listen, I want to be firmly on the right side of history here. I think this is a movie to toot the horn of rather than dump a load on.
Like I say, I know that it's not without its problems, but I just don't care.
I know you don't care. And that's what I think this movie relies on, is people letting go of all that bullshit. Some people are just more there than others. You're
Yeah,
just
some
hipper
people-
than me.
Some people are just wound up too fucking tight.
Could be. Maybe I'm just too uptight. I need to relax.
Yeah, maybe you do.
How
You need to
how
relax
would
your
you-
jaw.
Yeah, how would you help me relax if you had a way to do so?
Why would I be helping you relax? It's my birthday, Sam.
True. I tell you what I find really relaxing though is when people rate and review our podcast.
Oh, I see what you were doing there.
It wasn't very transparent, in fairness.
No. I think it's nice when people do that. It does relax me. It also fills me with a special kind of birthday confetti.
Yeah, it chills me the fuck out, gets me ready for the next movie. Come back, renewed, restored, and revigorated.
Revigorated, enlivened. Also, tell your friends. Tell your friends it's my birthday. If you really wanted to do something nice for my birthday, you could go to our Ko-fi page, which you can find the link in the bio on our social media, and just donate some money, which will mean that we don't have to pay for the hosting and all the shit that we do.
Yeah, we spend loads of money. So maybe chuck in a quid. Otherwise, you're just getting shit for free. And that's
Yeah.
privileged baby behavior. So applaud your pilot, pay a pound, enjoy your life.
If you do applaud pilots, I'm sorry that I offended you.
If you don't applaud pilots, I hope that you sit there slightly uncomfortably next time and think, Sam Russo's thinking less of me right now.